welcome to Back to Basics with Crystal. Today we're in the greenhouse and we're out here to talk to you about tomatoes. I'm here with my tomato starts and they are looking so beautiful. They're growing like weeds, and before I know it, it'll be time to put them in the garden, and hopefully I'll have tomatoes coming out my ears this year. I thought we'd have a little bit of fun today and start this episode off with some facts that you may or may not know about tomatoes. Fact 1. Tomatoes are actually a fruit. Botanically speaking, they are a fruit. However, in 1893, the Supreme Court ruled them a vegetable, so they can tax them. True story. Fact 2. Before the 1500s, Europeans had never seen a tomato before. It is believed, rumored, myth, legend, whatever you want to call it, that it was Christopher Columbus that actually brought them back to Europe from the New World. Kind of interesting, right? And now fact 3. Tomatoes are actually members of the nightshade family. What do you mean nightshade? Aren't nightshades super poisonous? Okay, so let's slow it down for just a minute. There are members of the nightshade family that are super poisonous. But there are also members of the nightshade family that we eat all the time. Tomatoes, potatoes, tomatillas, ground cherries, eggplants, peppers, both hot and mild. They are all members of the nightshade family. And all members of the nightshade family have alkaloid or make alkaloid. It is believed that they actually help protect the plant from predators, bugs, that sort of thing. Now, the alkaloid that tomatoes make are called tomentine. Now, the tomentine is toxic, and it's found in the leaves, stems, and roots. And it's also believed that they're in some of the raw, unripened fruit. Now, tomentine will make you sick, but it's going to take a lot, and I'm talking pounds of tomatoes, stems, roots, to make you not feel well. However, the ripe tomatoes are perfectly fine to eat. And I know what you're thinking, but Crystal, you're from Southeast Texas. Don't y'all have this thing called fried green tomatoes there? Yes, we do, and they are quite delicious. And I've probably, honestly, eaten my weight in fried green tomatoes over the years. And like I said, tomentine, it would take a lot at one time to make you sick. Now for me and my family, we're going to stay away from eating the roots, the stems, and the leaves. It's just not worth getting sick. Let's talk about growing tomatoes. Now, in growing tomatoes, you have two different kinds that you can grow, a determinate and indeterminate. So what's exactly the difference between the two? A determinate tomato plant is going to grow to about 3 to 4 foot, and it's going to stop. It's not going to grow any taller, and it'll start putting out fruit. Where an indeterminate tomato plant will continue to grow, and as it continues to grow, getting upwards of like 12 feet tall, it will continue to put fruit out all the way up. That's the two different kinds. Now, if you live in some place that you have limited space, maybe an apartment, a condo, maybe it's a rental house and you don't want to actually put anything into the ground, determinate tomato plants can actually be put into a pot and do quite nicely for you. So it's a really good patio tomato to grow. Now, when deciding what kind of tomato plant you want to grow, well, there are hundreds of different varieties of tomatoes. You have the heirloom. What I have planted here are all heirlooms. And then you have hybrids. Now, hybrids are kind of crosses, and what they do is they cross certain plants to get characteristics that they really like to grow in their new plants. So what's the difference between hybrid and heirloom? Well, heirloom has been around for a really long time. Typically, they're open pollinated, so if you plant maybe two different varieties, maybe a Brandywine and a pink Henderson right next to each other, since they're open pollinated, they can actually cross pollinate, and next year you'll end up with your own hybrid tomato. I mean, it's possible. I've done it. So with the heirlooms, you have two different kinds of leaves. You have the regular leaf that we see on all of our hybrid tomatoes, and then you have another leaf called a potato leaf. Let me show you now. Here is just a regular leaf. This is what we're all used to seeing. I believe that this is the only kind of leaf that is available in the hybrid world. Here is an example of your potato leaf. This is a tomato. This is a Brandywine, and it's got just kind of a long, it looks like a potato leaf. So just showing you again, this is a regular leaf, and typically this is what we see in the hybrid world. But this is an heirloom plant right here. I can't see the tag, so forgive me. And here's a Brandywine potato leaf. Here's a pink German. Let's see. Here's a pink German right here. And you see the potato leaf. It's a long, slender leaf like that. Taste-wise, there are no difference in taste when it comes to a potato leaf and a regular leaf tomato. It's all in preference. All the tomato plants have, you know, some are more sweet, some are more sour. It's all in the plant itself. The leaves have nothing to do with it. Tomatoes actually have a pretty long grow season. It takes somewhere between 75 and 90 days, depending on your variety, before they reach their maturity. When a plant reaches their maturity, that's when you're going to start seeing them put the fruit out. Most people, myself included, will plant their seeds indoors or in greenhouses before their last frost date. I planted mine about a month before my last frost date, my last average frost date. And the reason why I choose to do this is because it just ensures that I'll get a nice, long grow season and get lots and lots of tomatoes. If you live in a zone where your grow season is very short, I would recommend 8-12 weeks before your last frost date, starting your seeds indoors under grow lights. That way you're ensured to get a really nice tomato crop when it's time to go out into the ground. Tomatoes actually don't mind being planted deep. And the deeper you plant the stems, and you typically don't want to plant more than 70% of the plant. When you plant, what will happen is wherever the soil is touching the stem of the plant, roots will actually grow out from that. Let's say the kids get into the garden and they break one of your tomato plants off, but it doesn't break off completely, just kind of bends over. You can actually then go and take and cover up that broken tomato plant and just cover it up completely with soil, and it will grow roots and it will just continue growing for you. That's one really good thing. They're really kind of a forgiving plant. So let's talk about feeding tomatoes. This is where I'm not going to really touch a whole lot on, because my garden is a little bit different. I have worked over this is year number 4, on building my soil up. So my plants actually need less fertilizer than when I was doing a traditional till garden, and it's windy. So that's what you're hearing. So when I planted my tomatoes last year, and it'll be the same way this year, actually dig a hole, stick my tomato plant in there, cover it back up, and then I just I use a little bit of Triple 13 on the surface. I don't put it into the ground, it's just surface. I'll also put a little bit of Epsom salt, and actually when I actually go to plant these tomato plants, we'll do a video on that and I'll show you exactly what I do. In the past, I have used eggshells in the holes. I have used banana peels. I have actually put the Triple 13 in the hole, put banana peels, put eggshells, cover that up with dirt, and then put my plants on top of all that. Because the one thing you don't want to do, and I actually learned by experience, you don't want the fertilizer to touch the plant at all. It will burn it up. Take my word for it. So now I just dig the hole and put my tomato plant to sprinkle the Triple 13. It's not even a lot compared to some. It's really not. It's not even the recommended amount. And that's all I do. So that's really all I'm going to touch on feeding the tomato plants in this video. Whenever I go to plant the tomato plants, I'll actually show you what I do, and then you guys can just kind of grow on that. The wind is coming in really strong now, and I'm having to talk over the wind. I'm going to end the video here. I hope you found this video fun. I hope you found it informative. And if you did, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And until we talk next time, y'all be good. Bye.